This sign means A. All traffic must turn. B. Turn right at the intersection. C. Parking area ahead. D. Crossroad ahead. Watch for traffic. D. Crossroad ahead. Watch for traffic. This sign warns of the presence of a crossroad ahead. What does a single dashed white line separating traffic mean? A. Drivers may pass, even if it could be dangerous. B. Lanes move in opposite directions. C. Drivers may not pass. D. Drivers may pass if it is safe to do so. When passing other vehicles. A. Check your mirrors and blind spots. B. Honk your horn at least 3 times. C. Re-enter your lane within 10 feet of the passed vehicle. D. There is no need to signal. A. Check your mirrors and blind spots. Before passing another vehicle, check your mirrors and blind spots. Before changing lanes, activate the appropriate turn signal. Re-enter the lane when you can see the front of the passed vehicle in your rearview mirror. When driving in traffic, it is safest to A. Fluctuate your speed to keep alert. B. Drive faster than the flow of traffic. C. Drive slower than the flow of traffic. D. Drive with the flow of traffic. D. Drive with the flow of traffic. Crashes often happen when some drivers go faster or slower than other vehicles on the road. Always try to drive with the flow of traffic, within the posted speed limit.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
Unless otherwise posted, the maximum speed limit in a rural residence district is A. 25 miles per hour. B. 35 miles per hour. C. 45 miles per hour. D. 55 miles per hour. B. 35 miles per hour. When driving in a rural residence district, the speed limit is 35 miles per hour. If a different speed limit is posted, follow the posted speed limit. When two vehicles arrive to an intersection at the same time, which one has the right of way when no signs or signals indicate rules? A. The car approaching from the right has the right of way. B. The car approaching from the left has the right of way. C. The car in which the driver sounds his horn first has the right of way. D. The car that is traveling the fastest has the right of way. Which is not a factor in determining the distance that it takes to stop your vehicle? A. Steering ability. B. Braking distance. C. Reaction distance. D. Perception time. A. Steering ability. The distance required to stop your vehicle depends on perception time, reaction distance, and braking distance. This changes with speed and road conditions. When entering a highway from an entrance ramp, you should generally A. Enter above the speed of traffic to get ahead. B. Enter slowly to avoid other vehicles. C. Stop first, then slowly enter traffic. D. Accelerate to the speed of traffic. When you drive through an area where children are playing, you should expect them A. To know when it is safe to cross the street. B. To stop at the curb before crossing the street. C. To run out in front of you without looking. D. Not to cross the street unless they are with an adult. C. To run out in front of you without looking. You should always reduce your speed and use extra caution when children are in the vicinity. They may fail to understand the danger and may run out in front of you without looking. This sign means A. Slippery when wet. B. Watch for drunk drivers. C. Dangerous curve ahead. D. Bump in the road ahead. A. Slippery when wet. Warning signs are usually diamond-shaped with black markings on a yellow background. They alert drivers to upcoming hazards. This sign warns drivers to be extra careful when the pavement is wet because the road may become slippery, making vehicles more difficult to control. When dealing with pedestrians, a driver must A. Make sure the pedestrian is aware of their vehicle. B. Always yield the right-of-way, even if the pedestrian is in the wrong. C. Yield the right-of-way only when the pedestrian is legally entitled to it. D. Slow down and sound their horn near a crosswalk. When a stop is required at an intersection and no markings appear to indicate a stop line or crosswalk, a driver A. Is not required to stop. B. Is required to slow down to make sure crossing traffic is clear. C. Should stop only at a place where they can see at least 200 feet on either side, even if they have to enter the intersecting roadway. D. Should stop where they have a clear view of approaching traffic before they enter the intersecting roadway. D. Should stop where they have a clear view of approaching traffic before they enter the intersecting roadway. If there is no stop line or crosswalk, you should stop at the point nearest to the intersecting roadway where you can get a view of approaching traffic. You should not enter the intersecting roadway to gain a better view. When changing lanes, you should not A. Check your side and rear view mirrors. B. Give a turn signal to signal your intentions. C. Check for other drivers who may be moving into the same lane as you. D. Use your cell phone to contact the police to determine if the road ahead is clear. D. Use your cell phone to contact the police to determine if the road ahead is clear. Before changing lanes, check your side and rear view mirrors for traffic approaching you from behind. Use your turn signal to let other drivers know you plan to change lanes. Check for other drivers who also may be moving into the same lane. If you see this sign above your lane, you A. May not exit the freeway. B. May either continue through the interchange or exit the freeway from your current lane. C. May stay in your lane and continue through the interchange. D. Must exit the freeway, if you stay in your current lane. D. Must exit the freeway, if you stay in your current lane. If a yellow panel with the message, "Exit only," is on a highway sign, the lane below the sign will not continue through the interchange. Instead, the lane will go off of the roadway to form a ramp. If you are in a lane directly under an "Exit only" sign, you may change lanes to move through the interchange or you must exit the highway. What should you do if your vehicle's right wheels leave the pavement? A. Stop quickly. B. Immediately pull all the way off of the road and get back on when it is safe. C. Accelerate and steer back on the road quickly. D. Take your foot off the accelerator, slow down, then ease back onto the road when it is safe to do so. You are driving up a hill and are approaching a heavy truck from the rear. You should know that A. The truck may be traveling at a speed slower than the posted speed limit. B. You may not be able to safely pass the truck. C. You may not be able to legally pass the truck. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Drivers must be aware that large vehicles often travel at a speed slower than the posted speed limit, especially when driving on an incline, and should use caution when approaching a large vehicle from the rear. When on a hill with limited visibility, it is unlawful to pass another vehicle. When changing lanes on a highway, you should A. Signal a lane change. B. Check your rearview and outside mirrors. C. Check your blind spot by glancing over your shoulder. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Anytime you want to change lanes, you should properly signal your intentions well in advance, check your mirrors, and check your blind spot. You can check your blind spot by glancing over your shoulder in the direction that you plan to move. This road sign means A. One-way road. B. No right turn. C. Exit. D. Sharp right turn in the road ahead. D. Sharp right turn in the road ahead. This sign indicates that there is a sharp right turn ahead. This sign means A. Pedestrians walking along the road ahead. B. Pedestrian crossing ahead. C. Pedestrians must not cross here. D. Be alert for construction workers on the road. B. Pedestrian crossing ahead. This sign indicates the presence of a pedestrian crossing. Drivers should be cautious when driving where pedestrians may be present. When you are being tailgated. A. Move over to the right, if there is an open lane to your right. B. If there is not an open lane to your right, wait until the way is clear ahead and reduce your speed slowly to encourage the tailgater to drive around you. C. Never slow down abruptly. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. If you are being tailgated by another driver and there is a right lane, move over to the right. If there is no right lane, wait until the road ahead is clear and then reduce your speed slowly. This will encourage the tailgater to drive around you. Never slow down abruptly, as this will only increase the risk of your vehicle being hit from behind. This road sign means A. Parking spaces are reserved for people with disabled parking permits. B. A circular intersection is ahead. C. Traffic in the lane must turn in the direction of the arrow. D. Lanes are reserved for buses and vehicles with a driver and one or more passengers. A. Parking spaces are reserved for people with disabled parking permits. This sign marks parking spaces that are reserved for people with disabled parking permits. You are driving in the right lane of a multi-lane highway and want to move into the left lane. You should A. Look in your rearview mirror for traffic behind you before changing lanes. B. Look over your left shoulder for traffic in your blind spot before changing lanes. C. Look in your side mirror for traffic and turn on your directional signal. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Before changing lanes, you should always verify that there are no other vehicles in the lane you want to enter by checking your mirrors and looking over your shoulder in the direction you plan to move. You should signal every time you change lanes. Your first response to reduced visibility should be A. Turning on your headlights. B. Reducing your speed. C. Turning on your windshield wipers. D. Looking for road edge markings to guide you. B. Reducing your speed. Reducing your speed should be your first response to decreased visibility and dangerous road conditions. You must stop for a school bus. A. That is parked on the shoulder of the road with no one in it. B. When it approaches you, even if its lights are not flashing. C. If you are both driving on a two-lane highway and its red lights are flashing. D. Whenever the driver waves at you. C. If you are both driving on a two-lane highway and its red lights are flashing. You must stop when approaching a school bus that is displaying flashing red lights while stopped to pick up or drop off children. On a two-lane road, traffic moving in both directions must stop and remain stopped as long as the red lights near the top of the bus are flashing and/or the stop arm on the left side of the bus is extended. This sign means A. Merging traffic. B. Multiple turns. C. Lane shifting. D. Do not block intersection. A. Merging traffic. Warning signs prepare drivers for upcoming road conditions and hazards and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign alerts drivers to potential traffic merging from the right. Drivers should prepare to allow the traffic to merge safely. A red flashing traffic light has the same meaning as a solid red light. B. Stop sign. C. Yield sign. D. Caution sign. B. Stop sign. A red flashing traffic signal has the same meaning as a stop sign. When approaching a red flashing signal, come to a complete stop and proceed when it is safe to do so. A stop sign may sometimes also be posted where this signal is located. When should you increase your following distance? A. When driving at night. B. When driving on slippery roads. C. When driving at high speeds. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Maintain a minimum 3-second following distance when driving under ideal road and traffic conditions, at low speeds, in clear weather, and under ideal light conditions. Increase your 3-second following distance by an additional second for each negative situation or condition present. Who is required by law to wear a seat belt in a moving vehicle? A. Anyone under the age of 18 years old. B. Adult passengers. C. The driver. D. Backseat passengers. A. Anyone under the age of 18 years old. Safety belts are very simple devices that can prevent injury or death in the case of a crash. Anyone under 18 years of age is required by law to be properly restrained by a safety belt when in a moving vehicle, but it is highly recommended that everyone in a vehicle uses a safety belt, regardless of age. Which of the following statements is true? A. It is okay for drivers of other vehicles to follow motorcycles closely. B. A motorcycle with two people on it is more balanced than a motorcycle with just one rider. C. The driver of a passenger vehicle must change lanes completely when passing a motorcycle. D. Drivers of other vehicles can expect a motorcycle's brake lights to turn on when the motorcyclist slows down. C. The driver of a passenger vehicle must change lanes completely when passing a motorcycle. Motorcycles are entitled to the width of a full lane. Be sure your vehicle is entirely in the left lane before attempting to pass a motorcycle on the left. This sign indicates that A. There is a steep hill ahead. B. No trucks are allowed on an upcoming hill. C. A logging road is ahead. D. There are trucks on an upcoming hill. A. There is a steep hill ahead. This sign warns that there is a steep hill or downgrade ahead. When you approach a railroad crossing without flashing warning signals or crossing gates, you should A. Cross the tracks immediately and as quickly as possible. B. Always stop before crossing the tracks. C. Prepare to yield to any train at the crossing. D. Speed up to beat any oncoming train. C. Prepare to yield to any train at the crossing. Always be prepared to yield to any oncoming trains before crossing railroad tracks, particularly if there are no lights or gates controlling the crossing. Never start to cross the tracks until there is room for your entire vehicle on the other side of the tracks. Due to the risk of a vehicle stalling, it is not wise to shift gears when crossing railroad tracks. This road sign means A. You are about to enter a one-way street the wrong way. B. School crossing ahead. C. Do not drive in this lane. D. Traffic turning left on the green light must yield to oncoming traffic. D. Traffic turning left on the green light must yield to oncoming traffic. This sign is used with a traffic signal to tell drivers that left-turning traffic does not have the right of way and must instead wait for oncoming traffic to clear. If you're going to turn left onto a one-way street, you should complete the turn into A. The right lane. B. The lane closest to your previous lane. C. Either lane. D. Neither lane. B. The lane closest to your previous lane. You should always turn from the lane that is closest to the direction you want to go. Turn into the lane closest to your previous lane. A bicyclist who doesn't obey traffic laws? A. Is in the right because bicyclists don't have to obey traffic laws. B. Can be ticketed. C. Will always receive a warning from law enforcement. D. Will have their bicycle impounded. B. Can be ticketed. All bicyclists have the same rights, duties, and responsibilities as drivers of motor vehicles. Motorists and bicyclists who do not obey traffic laws can be ticketed. What might happen when alcohol is combined with another drug? A. The effects of the alcohol and the drug may both be increased. B. Nothing will happen. C. The effects of the alcohol and the drug may both be reduced. D. The effects of only the alcohol may be reduced. A. The effects of the alcohol and the drug may both be increased. Consuming both alcohol and another drug may enhance the effects of both. For example, taking one drink when you are also using a cold remedy could affect you as if you have had several drinks. This road sign means A. Do not enter. B. No parking. C. No U-turn. D. No left turn. C. No U-turn. These signs indicate that U-turns are prohibited in the location where it is posted. A "no standing" sign at a certain location means A. You may never stop your vehicle there. B. You may park there if the driver remains in the vehicle. C. You may stop temporarily only to pick up or discharge passengers. D. You may stop to load or unload merchandise. C. You may stop temporarily only to pick up or discharge passengers. A "no standing" sign means that you may only make a temporary stop to load or discharge passengers. To avoid collisions with vehicles in your blind spots, you should A. Quickly turn your head to see if your blind spot is clear before changing lanes. B. Adjust your rearview mirrors every few minutes. C. Honk your horn right before turning or changing lanes. D. None of the above. A. Quickly turn your head to see if your blind spot is clear before changing lanes. Before turning or changing lanes, turn your head and glance over your shoulder in the direction of your move to see if your blind spot is clear. Never rely on your mirrors alone. This road sign means A. Drive with caution and be ready to slow down. B. Do not drive in this lane. C. You must come to a complete stop and yield the right of way. D. Slow down, be prepared to stop, and, if necessary, yield the right of way. D. Slow down, be prepared to stop, and, if necessary, yield the right of way. This type of triangular sign means drivers must yield. You must slow down as you come to an intersection marked with this sign and be prepared to stop. Let any other vehicles, bicyclists, or pedestrians pass safely before you proceed. A pedestrian starts to cross in front of your vehicle. You should A. Flash your lights. B. Slow down. C. Speed up and pass in front of the pedestrian. D. Stop and let the pedestrian cross. D. Stop and let the pedestrian cross. Slow down and be prepared to stop whenever you see pedestrians walking on or crossing the roadway. Be particularly careful where children are present. Always yield the right of way to a pedestrian crossing in a crosswalk.